All right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You guys already know what time it is. Right here, we are actually joined by Canadian punk rock legend. That's right. We got the founder of Faber Drive. They are also Juno Award nominated, multi awards. He also actually he was also part of the phenomenal 2010 song that actually was a fundraiser for Haiti. But we're going to get into that during the interview. We have the one and only Dave Faber right here live on Punk World Radio. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's been a busy day, but it's a good evening right now. It's nice and oh no, I spoke too soon. The sun looks like it's gone behind the clouds, but it was sunny pretty much most of the day. So
I definitely agree with you on that. It's definitely been a busy day on my end as well. And here in Ontario, we've just been pretty much sort of a mix of sun and clouds. But I definitely think it calls for rain tonight. So hopefully it kind of holds off because I really am enjoying this warm weather we're getting.
nice, man.
But I know you're a busy guy, Dave, so I'm going to jump right into this interview, man. But I got to take you back to the beginning of this iconic Canadian band, Faber Drive. I have to ask, how did you and the other members get connected? Like, what actually sparked the start of Faber Drive originally?
Let's see if I can do this fairly quickly here. So what started the spark of Faber Drive was all the original members, the two original members of the band that I was in before Faber Drive. The band was called Seed, and both of them had quit due to family life. It just, we weren't making any money, and they had kids, and so they had quit. And I remember being so frustrated. I was like, and so I at that time, Nickelback was huge in the Vancouver scene and throughout the whole world because they had How You Remind Me, their biggest hit, released at that time. So I found their producer. I hunted him down. Sorry, excuse me. I'm drinking this pure vodka here.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. I hunted him down and I got a hold of him and I'm like, hey man, I'm in a band. I didn't tell him we had broken up. We got two full length CDs. I'd love to send them to you. And so he took a list of them and then he said, hey man, keep sending me acoustic ideas because I like these songs. I like where you're going, but I want to hear your songwriting get better. So I recorded acoustic songs on a computer for 6 months and kept sending them to him. And finally one day he called me up. He's like, hey man, why don't you come to the studio? His name's Joey Moy, by the way. He said, why don't you come to the studio and we'll finish the song. I think it was called Everything that I was working on at that time. And it was like a drop D, kind of a little riff thing. And so I went to the studio. That was Chad's studio in Abbotsford, BC. And we finished that song. And then we did a bunch of others. And that I think you were showing me that little thing there beforehand. We actually worked on those. Yeah, those 3 songs that are on that CD right there. Those are the first 3 songs that we cut with Joey Moy before we recorded the first album. And so it was literally, to answer your question in a pretty much a one sentence here, there was no band. It was literally me at that point in time.
And when you guys actually got signed and whatnot and obviously got in contact, did the other members kind of come back or did you have to actually get other members to actually kind of fill in the voids of the previous members?
So I sought out new members. The first member that joined the band was my brother-in-law, Raymond Bull. We used to call him Red Bull. And he was an amazing drummer. I kind of taught him drums from the time he was about, I think 12 or 13 or something. And then as he got older, by the time he was like 16, 17, I was like, dude, you're a good drummer. Do you want to join my new band? At that time we were just called Faber. And he said, yeah, for sure. And then we got our bass player, Cricket, found him. He was playing at a Easter church service. And he was playing like lead bass at this Easter church service. It was amazing. I was just like, who is this guy? And so we got him from that. And then Dave Hensley was a really good friend of my brother, Brian Faber. And Dave Hensley tried out. And at first I told Dave, I'm like, oh man, I don't know. And then he called me back like a few days later. I can't remember the exact story. He called me back. He's like, is there anything I could do? I really want to try. I want to be in the band. And so I went back to his house and I said, okay, well, if you can learn these things, then, let's have another audition. And so I pretty much auditioned him again. He got the part with Flying Colors. He was an awesome guitar player, awesome songwriter too. He actually wrote a bunch of the Faber Drive songs himself, kind of thing. So that was the complete band. Dave Hensley, Cricket, which is Jeremy Little, and Red Bull, Raymond Bull.
And obviously, I know you guys end up changing Faber and then adding on Drive afterwards due to a dispute with another company. But I have to ask, who actually came up with the last part of the name? Like, who actually decided to slap Drive at the end of Faber?
We put a lot of thought into that, probably too much thought. And what had happened was we couldn't figure out a band name that we all agreed on, and we couldn't figure out because our lawyers had told us at the time. Chris Taylor told us he was Avril Lavigne's lawyer and Nelly Furtado's lawyer and Drake's lawyer. He's a really good guy. He's actually my co-manager now for my son's project. But he had suggested to us, he's like, look, man, your name's Faber. There's a lot of other companies around the world by the name of Faber. He's like, I just suggest you change the name. So that was the only thing we could think of to change it. And the reason why we kept the name Faber Drive was because the original logo, I don't even know if I have the original logo right now, but the original logo was basically Faber on top and then Drive on the bottom, and the A in Faber and the V in Drive made like almost like a yin yang sort of symbol. And we loved the symbol, and that's kind of been our symbol for, I don't know, 15 years now or something. And so that was kind of the only reason that we had to keep the name Faber Drive, because we couldn't think of anything else. And oh yeah, and there's another story which is kind of a made up fabricated story, not completely fabricated, because I did used to drive with a guitar in my lap, and they used to kind of make fun of me, call me Faber Drive and all that stuff. So, but the truth is, it was a legal issue, and we kept the name because of the AV. We liked the way it looked like a yin yang kind of.
And also, as well, in 2005, you guys actually won the Fox Seeds competition on a Vancouver radio station by the name of 99.3 CFox. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about that competition. And of course, how did you guys originally get entered and, of course, win?
We entered, it would have been like 2005. And sorry, what was the question again?
Like about you guys, the Fox Seeds competition on 99.3 CFox.
Yeah. So we, at that point, we were doing those 3 songs on that CD that you have there with our producer. Joey, the producer, actually didn't think the songs were ready, but I was really excited about the CFox thing. And our manager at the time, Chief, he strongly agreed with me that I should bring them into 99.3 the Fox. And it was the closing day. I brought the demo CD and I gave it to them, and they're like, oh, we're kind of closed now, but yeah, we can take the CD. And then, yeah, there was a lot of people that competed in it, and we ended up winning the whole thing, getting first place. It was a huge rush, and it was probably one of the best memories I have of Faber Drive. The night that we won, there was like the top five bands playing at the Commodore Ballroom, sold out show. A lot of label reps, 8 booking agents, everybody was there. It was a lot of fun. And Todd Hancock was the guy that actually gave us the award, and he's still a good buddy.
And it's kind of cool as well that even though the radio station was closed, they actually still accepted your guys' just demo record. A lot of radio stations wouldn't even let you pass the door to even hand them a tape or a CD or a record or anything, man. So it's really cool that station at least gave you the opportunity to be like, hey, we'll take it even though we're closed.
Yeah, it was cool that they accepted it. There was a bit of buzz going on about us at that point in time too, so it might have helped that there was buzz kind of about us in the Lower Mainland. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Brandon.
Oh no, it's all good actually, and I got to say it's really cool. That definitely probably did help as well, because obviously they're in the radio business, they play new music all the time, so they definitely heard Faber Drive, obviously.
Yeah, at that point we were just called Faber still, but they had there was talk, because like at that point we were working with Chad Kruger to write some of the songs. We were also working with another producer by the name of Brian Howes, and then Nickelback's producer Joey Moy. And we actually wanted that first album to be even more pop punk than it is. We were like, I was always a huge fan of Simple Plan. They're still good friends of mine, the guys in Simple Plan, but I wanted the album to sound more like traditional pop punk, like almost like Green Day, Blink-182, Simple Plan. That was the sound that I really wanted the album to sound like. So it was kind of a bit of a battle with, just like what it is if you go in with band members or producers or whatever. You don't want to be a dictator about things, because that generally doesn't work. So yeah, but we're happy with the album. We're rarely happy with what Joey did. Joey was amazing. We feel like there was really good songs that came out of the first album and that 3-song EP you got.
And speaking of Chad Kroeger as well of Nickelback, you guys actually signed to his 604 records. That you guys have been part of that label for years. I was wondering though, what was it like just working alongside Chad? Because I do know at his label he was an A&R of that as well. Like, what was it like just being able to work alongside Chad of Nickelback during the early days of your guys' career?
Chad, Chad is a very interesting fella. He is amazing to work with. He's very confident, which I do believe to be a rock star as big as him, you need that confidence. Um, he was amazing to work with. He helped us with the songwriting. He helped us with, we recorded our first album at his studio. There was one point where, when we were recording the first album, he had caught wind that I was going to the food bank because I was married with 2 kids. Still married. I have 4 kids now, but at the time we had 2 kids and another one on the way, and I was just basically going to the food bank to get food, and because there was no money, I had no money. I was barely able to pay rent, but I really wanted to do this album with Chad's crew and 604 Records and the producer. So Chad caught wind of that. I didn't say anything, but he heard from the producer. I guess I was just whatever. I don't know if I was drinking one night and kind of mumbled something to the producer that I was going to the food bank after the session or the next morning. Anyways, Chad pulls me aside at his studio there, and he's like, "Hey, man, we're brothers, and I heard that you've been going to the food bank. Is that true?" And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. Got to do what I got to do to put food on the table." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to wire $5,000 into your account today just to help you get through these tough times right now, and just pay me back whenever you can," kind of thing. And it's just a real testament of how Chad is with his friends and family. He's very, very giving, like lavishly gives to his friends and family. Um, yeah, and it was probably the first moment for me that I was like, wow, it was really nice of him to do that. He didn't have to do that. He could have been like, "Hey, I'll buy you some groceries," but he literally just wired $5,000 and just said, "Pay me back whenever you want."
I gotta say, definitely just props to Chad for doing that, man. Because at the end of the day, everyone unfortunately has been there at some point in time, having to go to the food bank. It's great services to actually have when you are in need, but someone like Chad to do that, like you said, he could have just bought you groceries, but wiring $5,000, it also just shows how much faith he actually had in yourself and the rest of the band. I think Chad's obviously a musical genius. Just his career shows it. So he definitely knew you guys were going to blow up and be something huge.
I don't know if he knew that, but I think he definitely did have faith in us. And he hoped the best for us. He was, yeah, I remember going out for nights with him back in the day too, and it was like we'd go to restaurants or he'd order a limo for us, and he just yeah, so much fun to hang out with. Yeah, yeah, a lot of fun to hang out with, and paying for the whole meal. And there's like 15 people in the restaurant. Just a lot of fun to be with.
And before we move off the topic of 604 Records, are you guys actually still signed to that label, or are you guys actually fully independent now?
No, we are fully independent right now. We release most of our music, if not all, through DistroKid, and we have a really good relationship with DistroKid right now. We still have a really good relationship with 604 Records as well. Jonathan Simkin, the co-owner with Chad, and yeah, we might do something again in the future with 604. But at this point, we're just doing work with DistroKid.
And also, as well, on May 1st of 2007, you guys actually released my personal favorite record by you. And of course, it's your guys' debut studio album titled 7 Second Surgery that became an absolute smash hit. I was wondering if you can actually just tell our viewers the backstory behind this phenomenal album.
Backstory. Yeah, so oh man, that's the backstory is there was a lot that happened there. There was a lot of good memories from that album. I remember getting voice surgery during the recording of that album. I remember being on tour during the recording of that album. So it was, I think it took us like, I want to say probably like a year to record the entire album. I could be wrong on that, but just because we were going in and out of the studio. And then it was Chad's studio. So what would happen is sometimes like Nickelback would have to record a song. So we'd kind of get bumped out for a week or two and then back and forth. I also remember Daniel Adair playing drums on a couple songs because at the same time, I was telling you about my brother-in-law, Raymond Red Bull. He was still a pretty young drummer. And we, our producer strongly suggested getting, players, a couple players that are like really good at playing. So we had Daniel Adair, who's Nickelback's drummer, come in, play a few songs. We also had Pat Stewart, who's Bryan Adams' drummer, and he has been Bryan Adams' drummer for, I don't know, I want to say 20, 25 years, maybe even longer. I know he played on Summer of '69. So we met Pat Stewart, we met Daniel Adair. Yeah, there was a lot of good times. Got to swim in Chad's pool with the boys a bunch of times, and Chad partying in his pool, and there was a lot of fun. We had, a couple hockey games out in the driveway there with Chad and Joey. What else do I remember? Oh, Chad's really good at making pierogies too. He used to make us pierogies, which was awesome. Yeah, I mean the album, for us, it's such a crazy album. Like I'd say probably the songs were written, some of them were written with like a bunch of us. Like Second Chance was written by me, Chad Kruger, actually Kadu. It was Simon Clow. Yeah, Simon Clow, sorry, is a songwriter on 24 Second Chance as well, but he never did get a credit, which anyways, that's hopefully water under the bridge. So it was me, Chad, Brian Howes, I think all the guys in the band, and just sitting in the studio, just hacking out these lyrics. Tongue Tied is another one of those songs. It was basically written by me, Brian Howes, and Chad Kruger. When I'm With You is me and Brian Howes. What else? Time Bomb and Killing Me were mostly written by our guitar player, Dave Hensley. Really good songwriter. I still write songs with him too. Yeah. I don't know if that answers much of, the question. It was a lot of fun recording in the studio. I remember getting vocal surgery too. That was a little crazy. But yeah, I just kept blowing my voice. So had to get surgery.
And is that what sparked the album name as well? Like, because obviously you had vocal surgery. The album's name is titled 7 Second Surgery. Was that kind of like just a coincidence, or did that actually spark the album name?
That is a good grab. I've actually never had anybody ask that question, and I've literally never even thought about that. No, it had nothing to do. It was literally a coincidence. Yeah, that's crazy. No, had nothing to do with it. We literally were like, what are we going to call the album? It was just one of those names that we just made up, 7 Second Surgery. And it was just like, it sounds catchy, sounds kind of cool. So we just went with it. And we like the doctor, the guy with the drill or whatever on the album cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had like the old school, I don't know what you call them, but the metal thing that goes over the head to help you kind of like shine down and look. I don't know what they're called, but I know people are going to correct me in the comments section.
Yeah, it's not stethoscope. That's what I want to say, but it's not stethoscope. Maybe just a headlamp or something. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. But also as well, when you mentioned Second Chance a few moments ago, man, that's one of my all-time favorite Drive songs, man. I remember when we spoke and we set this up that I mentioned that I saw you guys live at Riverfest. I think it was back in, I want to say 2011 or 2010. And I remember when you guys started playing the opening riff to that song. I've been to so many concerts there, Dave, and I'm not just saying this because I'm interviewing the man himself. I have never been in a crowd just hearing such a huge commotion at a concert that I did when I heard the first riff from Second Chance. Actually, just you guys strum that, man. It was legendary.
Crazy. That's cool, man. That's good to hear because that's actually, you bring back another memory is when we recorded that song. So it was Daniel Adair who played drums in that song, and Daniel was playing just like a regular drum beat. And I was like, no, Daniel, I want it to sound like Foo Fighters, There Goes My Hero. And so he did these drums like that. And I was like, yeah, that's it, man. That's awesome. And then Joey's like, yeah, let's keep doing that. And Joey's just an animal at production. So he was, getting Daniel to play it over and over again and make it sound the best it could. But literally the intro to that song, the inspiration on the drums and the inspiration of the song for the intro was Foo Fighters, There Goes My Hero.
And also, as well, a few years later, on January 12th of 2010, yourself and more than other 50 other Canadian artists actually gathered at the Warehouse Studio in Vancouver, British Columbia, to record "Waving Flag," a charity single for the victims of the 2010 Haiti earthquake. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about that, and of course, what was it like just gathering in a warehouse with so many other legendary individuals just like yourselves?
It was really cool, man. It was crazy and cool, and I honestly don't remember a whole lot about it. I remember working with Bob Ezrin, was the producer, which he's a legendary producer. Um, I remember a lot of Canadian icons being there. I can't even remember who's all on the song right now, but it was amazing. Yeah, Kanon put it together. Um, and it was just a wonderful thing to be part of. I'm a strong believer in giving back, and especially charities. My wife literally just got back from Africa this past Friday. She goes to an orphanage out there called Seeds of Hope in Zambia, and she's been like 4 or 5 times, and she loves going. She helps out the children, and it's a wonderful charity. So, yeah, always a strong believer in giving back, and just thankful for the blessings that God has given me, and my family and friends. So love giving back.
Yeah, and there were there were so many amazing acts on there, from Pierre Bouvier to Derek Whibley of Sum 41. But it's crazy how a producer can, on such a short song, because I think it was only like a 4 or 5 minute song, have 50 artists combined and produce that and actually make it actually doable on a 5 minute song. This is absolutely extraordinary, and it just shows the producing skills of some people to take so many vocals and so many parts of a song and blend it together with 50 plus artists. Is just unreal.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's very cool. I don't know if all the singers had lead vocal parts, but I would say, I don't know, there had to be at least 20 of the singers that had lead vocal parts. Some of them, there was like they built a choir out of us too at one point. Um, but yeah, it was very cool.
And also, a few years after that, on August 27th of 2013, Faber Drive actually released a single titled "Little Too Late," featuring Pierre Bouvier, of lead singer of Simple Plan. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about that song, and of course, how did you originally meet Pierre and just get the opportunity to work with him on the song?
So I believe the first time we met him would have been on tour. So we had signed with Simple Plans Management, Coalition Entertainment, out of the management team with Liam Clean and Rob Lanny and Eric Lawrence. And I think it was through them that we got the opening slot or direct support on the Simple Plan Cross Canada tour. So we met them on that tour, and then we just became friends, and we always talked about songwriting. And so me and our bass player Cricket, we were doing a songwriting trip down to LA, and we told Pierre and Chuck, and they said, yeah, let's get together in one of the hotel rooms and write a song. And the song that we wrote was Too Little Too Late. The weird thing is, when you listen to that song, and to this day, it's still hard for me, because I'm like, oh man, sometimes I feel like me and Pierre sound like quite similar. And not that that's a bad thing at all, but like I think he's got a way better voice than me. He's a crazy singer. But it's sometimes when I listen to the track, I'm like, hey, wait, is this Pierre singing or is this me singing? It's hard to tell the difference sometimes.
And I got to say, I thoroughly actually enjoyed that song back in the day, man. I still listen to it today, and I would really love, hopefully, down the line, you yourself and Pierre can actually do more music, man, because that song was an instant classic the moment it dropped, in my personal opinion.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.
And I do know as well, I think it was not too long ago, you actually had the opportunity to go backstage and actually open up for Simple Plan. Obviously, working with him on the song is one thing, but what was it like just being able to share the stage with him as well?
Sharing the stage with, Simple Plan was amazing, man. It was crazy. Yeah, I remember the craziest moments of opening for Simple Plan was when we played in Montreal. We played, and it wasn't our band. I mean, maybe we sold 100 tickets. I don't know how many tickets we would have sold, but Simple Plan sold out 2 nights in a row, the Bell Center in Montreal, which I believe was 14,000 or 16,000 people each night. and we were opening for them, and I remember just looking into the crowd and looking, and it was just like people everywhere, and we're just rocking. We were just like looking at each other on stage, and just we couldn't even believe it. It was awesome. And hearing everybody sing the songs back too, like Tongue Tied and Second Chance and When I'm With You and all those songs that we that we wrote so long ago.
I've never had the opportunity to see Simple Plan in Montreal. I've seen them in Kingston, but I've heard some stories about their hometown shows, man, that they're just absolutely unreal. Like the atmosphere is just amazing.
Yeah, it is, man. It's crazy. They put on such an incredible show, such great live performers, and they sell out shows all around the world too. Whereas for Faber Drive, we were pretty. Well, I don't know if I would say we were pretty big, but we were definitely well known in Canada. But Simple Plan broke out into the rest of the world, which is something that we always kind of wanted to do with Faber Drive. But we had some success in the Philippines. We went to Singapore. We did a couple things in the U.S., but nothing really ever took off in the U.S. or the rest of the world. Not as much as it did in Canada.
And also, aside from Faber Drive for a few moments, your son is also an artist as well that goes by the name of Pao Fu. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about him as an artist. And of course, what is it like actually seeing your own son actually follow in your footsteps and pursuing a career within the music industry?
Well, yeah, very, very proud of him. It's exciting to see him doing what he's doing. He's extremely driven, and he doesn't really drink, and he doesn't really like party. Like he maybe has like a drink once a month kind of thing. So he's very level-headed, very clear-headed, and he is very driven and ambitious, which, there's a ton of artists that are out there that they just want things to fall into their lap. Well, that's not going to happen if you're not putting in the work, and he definitely puts in the work. So it's very exciting working with him. Yeah. And very proud of him. He's one of only 6 Canadian, it might be 7 Canadian artists now that has over 1 billion streams on one song on Spotify. So he's doing great. We got a European tour coming up, and hopefully some other tours. Sorry, burping again. European tour this fall, September, October. And yeah, that should be really good.
And I gotta say, he is such a talented artist. I've listened to the songs you sent me. I did more research listening to his music, and I have to say, he definitely has the same work ethic as his father. Man, such a tremendous artist. We actually have a few of his songs that you actually sent our way, spinning actually on 99.9 Punk World Radio FM as well, and we've been receiving nothing but positive reviews from Pao Fu.
Sweet, man. Thank you. What songs are you guys playing?
I have the ones that you sent me. I don't have my playlist actually right in front of me. I have about 600 songs in front of me, so I have 600 songs in rotation on the station.
Right. It was probably what could have been Deathbed or the Taylor Swift punk rock cover, Mine.
I do know the Taylor Swift punk rock cover actually is in rotation, because I've actually had individuals call the radio station, ask for that as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Sweet. Yeah, I co-produced that one. He recorded the vocals right here on that mic right there.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
And also as well, one of my favorite recent Faber Drive songs is actually Mr. Good for Nothing. I was wondering if you can just tell us a bit more about that song. And is that song actually based on real events as well? Because, I mean, I know a lot of people that actually listen to that song, or even if they're just discovering that song, in some way, shape, or form, somebody that was going through those things can definitely fully relate.
Yeah. So do you know who wrote the song?
I actually do not, honestly.
Okay. Well, if you look on Spotify and credits, it's Pierre Bouvier and Chuck Kumo.
That I can say now that I hear that, I honestly though, I actually get it. I mean, it sounds kind of like something that they would write, but I would have never guessed that until you told me.
Yeah, no, they had wrote the song, and they're like, maybe I'm gonna say, I don't know, I'm gonna say probably 10 years ago, I texted them, or even longer. And I was like, hey guys, we're releasing new Faber Drive songs. We're looking for new songs that we want to record. Do you guys have anything? Because they're those, like Chuck and Pierre, they're the kind of guys that write songs for like a lot of people. And they ended up sending me a few songs, but that one, Mr. Good for Nothing, always always struck a chord with me. I loved it. And then eventually, I'm going to guess it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago, or maybe, I don't know how long ago it was, but a few years back, I went in to record it with my buddy Alan, who used to be the bass player for These Kids Wear Crowns. Still a really good friend of mine, and he produced it for us. And that's where the song came from. But yeah, no, the song, there's things in the song lyrically that I can definitely relate to. I don't think I was bullied a whole lot in school myself. I think I was bullied maybe when I was, in younger grades, and definitely don't like the bully stuff. So, yeah, I can relate to the song for sure.
And I got to say, that song, honestly, I can relate to every single word in that song, right down to the football team kicking my ass. Except the only thing I can't relate to is driving my mom's minivan to school because she didn't drive. But other than that, I can relate to every single word of that song. So when I listened to it, I was like, Jesus, this is like a great song, but also kind of like a PTSD moment of high school.
No, man.
But also as well, on March 3rd of 2023, you guys actually released a brand new song titled Never Gone that actually has a new sound, but also very good sound at that. I was wondering, can you tell us a bit more about this song? And of course, what actually made you guys decide to spice up Faber Drive style a little bit?
So we believe that this song is leaning country, to be honest with you. We've all been huge country fans our entire lives. We're not just punk or metal or rap or country. We literally listen to pretty much everything. And we wrote the song with a good friend of ours, Nate Cavalli, and Dave Hensley, guitar player from Faber Drive, and our original guitar player from Faber Drive. And we recorded it with our buddy JVP in Vancouver. And he's a great producer. He's actually produced Simple Plan as well. And we got some more songs coming out this year. We got a good year ahead of us, and lots of exciting times. So we just wanted to release it, and we liked the song, and so we released it.
And when you said you got a lot of songs coming, I had a lot of individuals actually ask me to ask you guys this question just when they found out I was interviewing you. But do you guys actually have any plans to actually do another full-length studio album this year in 2023, or just in the foreseeable future at all?
That's a hard one to answer. We would love to do another full-length album, but at this point, it's just looking like EPs and singles. So I can't confirm nor deny on that.
Hey, you know what? I think me as a Faber Drive fan, as long as we're getting something new, I can't complain. EP single sounds good to me. At the end of the day, new material is new material.
Thanks, brother. We do have an acoustic version of You and I Tonight that we're going to be putting out hopefully within the next month or two here.
And also, I actually saw that you guys are actually gearing up to actually do some shows as well. If I'm not mistaken, I saw on your Instagram that it's going to be out in Saskatchewan. Definitely correct me if I'm wrong there, but I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about the ticket information for these shows. And of course, what other cities do you actually plan on hitting? That way individuals can actually dig in their savings account, and just that way they can save up and make sure they can snag themselves some Faber Drive tickets when you guys do hit a city near them.
Yeah, so there's 2 events. Well, there's a bunch of events we got coming up. There's a bunch of private stuff we're doing. Like I'm doing a private acoustic show for my Aunt Jacqueline's birthday this Saturday, and then I'm also doing which is my birthday too, April 8th. I turned 47 this Saturday, and so I'm playing for her birthday. It's supposed to be a surprise. Hopefully, she's not listening to this audio. I just blew the cover. Sorry, Uncle Paul. And then we've got a couple. We're doing Aaron Pritchett. So Aaron Pritchett's son. Do you know who Aaron Pritchett is?
I do not, but I do not.
He's a country, big Canadian country guy, Aaron Pritchett. His son, Jordan Pritchett, is in our band. So that's the other kind of reason why we're doing a lot of country stuff.
That's why I was like, I do not, but I do know the last name because I know there's Jordan in the band. So I'm like, I don't want to say his brother if I'm completely wrong.
Yeah. No, it's his son. So we are playing, it's called the Big Wheel Charity Classic. And if you want to look up ticketing information, just go to at Big Wheel Charity Classic on Instagram. Let me see if I can find the website for a second here. I think it would just be Big Wheel Charity Classic. Not that fast at typing. Big Wheel Charity Classic is, yeah, so it's Big Wheel. No, it's called, the website's bigwheelgolfclassic.com. And then you can get all ticketing information on there. And so there's two that we're doing. One is June 8th, that's Saskatoon, Saskatchewan at the Legends Golf Club. And then the second one is on Vancouver Island. I believe it's Nanaimo. And that's September 14 at Cottonwood Golf Club.
Hey, it definitely sounds like some amazing events that you guys actually have coming up. I hope that you guys actually slide on through to Ontario once again, man, because I got to say, it's been, I think, almost close to 15 years since I saw Faber Drive live, man. So I think I think Ontario's long overdue for some amazing pop punk.
Yeah, man, we would love to come back. We've got so many song ideas right now too. Me and my drummer, Seamus, our new drummer, Seamus O'Neill, we've been jamming tons. We just jammed at his house on Saturday, then on Sunday again. Plus, I'm going to Jordan Pritchett's house tonight, our guitar player, to go work on a song that they're hopefully releasing with him and his side project, him and his fiance. It's called Cross Parallel. Very, very good stuff. And then, yeah, lots of new music for my son too. Pal Food, check him out as well. And thanks so much for having me, Brandon. Really appreciate it, man.
Hey, you are most certainly welcome. And I have to ask, is there anything we actually missed? Anything else you still want to talk about or promote? We still got you here live on the air.
If you're looking for a good book to read, check this one out. Atomic Habits, really good. And yeah, no, God's been good. Some tough times right now with my mom. She's got some breast cancer, and yeah, so it's tough times, but she's a really good woman. 7 of us kids, we've been going over to her house pretty much every day, and lots of prayers for her. And yeah, so if anybody thinks about it, pray for her and the family. And yeah, no, thank you, man. God bless you and your show. And thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it, Brandon. Seriously, thank you.
You are most certainly welcome, Dave. And everyone here at 99.9 Punk World Radio FM and FM is definitely thinking of you and your family, and prayers definitely sent over to you, man. It's definitely a difficult situation, but I pray that she makes a full 110% recovery.
Thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate it.
I got to say, first and foremost, Dave, thank you so much, man, for just giving us a bit of your time and sliding into the Punk World Radio FM airwaves, man. It was such an honor to speak with you, and I just got to say thank you for years of monumental music, man. I'm pretty sure this is by the looks of that CD, you've known I've been a fan for a long time, man. So thank you for making music that I had the opportunity to listen to and enjoy for so many years. That helped me and millions of other Faber Drive fans get through so many difficult times, man. If it wasn't for your music, I really don't know where I would be today. So for that, thank you.
No problem, man. Thanks for being a fan, brother. Really appreciate it.
Hey, you're most certainly welcome, Dave. Definitely have yourself a phenomenal night. And of course, I know I'm a little early, but happy birthday.
Thanks, brother. This Saturday is going to be a fun one. Sold out show. Don't tell Aunt Jacqueline.
Well, hopefully she doesn't see it hopefully she doesn't watch this interview until Sunday.
Yeah, hopefully.
But definitely, Dave, have yourself a great night, man. I'm definitely sure we definitely shall talk again soon. And I'll also get these 3 songs sent off to you here later on this evening as well. That way you have them for your computer and your drives.
Thanks so much, brother, for my Faber Drive. Oh, total dad joke.
Thank you again, Dave. Definitely have yourself a phenomenal night.
You too, brother. Talk later, Brandon.